I just want to know, Jordan, because I have 7 years of covering the Hurricanes under my belt. That was back in the heyday of when the Hurricanes were great. Now, we've had, what has it been, 2 decades? 24 years. 24 years of mediocrity. What makes you convinced that the Hurricanes are back and are a title contending team?
Well, saying they're back, I still have hesitation. It seems like every time we think they are, everything seems to collapse at the end. We saw that 2017 when they started 9-0 or 10-0, whatever it was, and then 3 games down the stretch. We saw it last year when they had Cam Ward, Heisman finalist, #1 overall pick, and then lost 2 of the final 3 in the regular season, and then lost the bowl game, missed out on the playoffs and all of that. It just, when I look at this year, I look at the roster. I look at what Carson Beck has done so far. I look at the offensive line. I look at just the roster that Mario Cristobal has put together. And now that's the one thing there. It's year 4 into Mario Cristobal. Every player on that roster is a player who he either recruited as a high school player or someone he got through the transfer portal. We all know what Mario Cristobal's, how savvy he is and how great he is as a recruiter. So now that he has his entire roster, a roster that he built, and we've seen his track record. We saw it at Oregon. We even saw it at FIU, how he was able to get them to as much relevance as you can at FIU. The fact that he has a roster full of talent, full of that, you look at the 2 deep, and it actually is 2 deep of players who you can throw in the game and think, okay, they can make an impact. That gives you the hope that this is what the Miami Hurricanes should be. We've seen it through the first 3 games. Obviously, the Notre Dame game, that was huge. I came into the season thinking they just need to be competitive in that game. I didn't expect them to win it. I'm on the record in my season preview. I picked Notre Dame to win that game. I thought if Miami is at least competitive in that game, they have a chance to do something, to at least make the playoffs. When they won that game, go up by 14, give up the lead, but still find a way to get back into it. That was a telling point for me because last year, when they had a lead and they lost it, you could tell they weren't coming back. Or if they had the adversity, it was they had to play from behind. They had the trouble playing from ahead. And the fact that they were able to handle that in Notre Dame and then handle business in the next 2 weeks, obviously Bethune-Cookman, they should handle that. They held off, they steamrolled USF, who came in with the narrative all being about them being the Giant Slayers. They're 3-0 so far. They have a couple big tests left, but you look at just the all-around what they've done to this point, it looks like what Miami Hurricane football should be. It's just a matter of will it be sustained as they get through the rest of the schedule. Greg Cote, you have been here as well. How do you see from so far through the first 3 weeks? And obviously you've been around. You've seen them from their heyday as well.
Yeah, the Canes are stacked. I'm all in on Mario. They're the best they've been since the glory days, in my opinion. They're better than they were in 2017. I don't think it's a mirage. They beat a higher-ranked Notre Dame. They crushed USF, which was a ranked team. I think they're about to crush the Gators. I think the Canes, it's an absolute they're going to make the college football playoff. The only team I see better is Ohio State. I think the Canes have a chance to win their long-delayed 6th national championship. I really do. Okay.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Write it down. Write it down. Bank it.
Now, the Hurricanes have never won the ACC championship, and
Yeah.
now you're giving them, through a playoff system, the national championship.
Yes, I am. Because, Clemson is fading. I think their big competition this year is FSU. That's the game at FSU. That's the game that they need to prove to everybody that they're where I think they are. But I really believe in UM this year. I don't see a flaw in the roster. Last year I did. The pass defense was bad. It was bad. This year it's really improved. The wide receiver room was supposed to be a question because they lost everybody. It's a strength right now. And Carson Beck, as you mentioned, he's second in favorite for Heisman Trophy right now, and legitimately, I just don't see a flaw. I see this as an airtight roster that is really, really good.
Here's my question about UM. they were one of the first teams that they were paying the entire team when the NIL began, and that's South Florida culture. How much of this is a team that's bought versus a team that's developed? And maybe this is a question for Jordan.
Why does that matter, though?
Yeah, why does it matter anymore?
See, why does that matter anymore? Ohio State bought their roster last year, and they were national champions. Like, I feel like it doesn't matter anymore. Like, you can buy it, you can recruit it, it don't matter. Like, as long as you are holding a national championship at the end of the year, it shouldn't matter how you got there, as long as you didn't cheat.
Yeah, honestly, I'd rather echo Isaiah on that. I mean, it's all above board now, right? So, yeah. So, I mean, you get there how you get there. But to answer your question in terms of the development and whatnot, you look at some of the guys who were here from pre the NIL. I mean, the Francis Malinovas, the Ruben Baines, the guys who were there from where you were just teetering on the beginning of it. Those guys, you had to recruit them to get here. And you have a lot of the guys who are staying here and not leaving for potentially greater pay, greater salaries, or greater NIL deals down the road. They're here. There are a lot of guys who have been here since the start of the Mario Cristobal era that easily could have dipped after year one when they went 5-7. And they have still 8, 9, 10 guys who were there from year one of Mario that said, we see what they're going for. We see where the path is. It's not great now, but if we stick this out, it's going to be. And as of right now, it's looking like things are paying off. Granted, like I said, there's still 9 games left in this regular season. I echo Cote with the fact that the FSU game up in first week of October is going to be probably the game that determines if they make the ACC championship game. Because, or the way I see it with their schedule, whoever wins that is going to be the team that makes one of the teams that makes it in. And Georgia Tech's probably going to be the other one. Just their ACC schedule, now they beat Clemson, is very, very easy. So Georgia Tech probably has the inside track to get in, and whoever wins that game between FSU and Miami is going to have the other inside track because they'll have no losses, and the rest of their schedule is more or less plays out in their favor. So if they can win that game up in Tallahassee, everything is right there for the taking for them this year.
One of my biggest questions with UM, and I'm opening this up for both you guys, like, why can't they keep talent here, right? Because you think about, obviously Ruben Baines staying is great, right? You get a kid like Malachi Tony, who's, from the area, that's great, right? But, like, why is it that I know why historically, but do you think this success this year, I'm not going to go as far as saying national champions, but at least a playoff berth, do you think that can make waves just in this community where you just have so much, high school football talent, right? Do you think that can be big enough to start getting kids to be like, all right, maybe I should stay home. Maybe I should go to the U? Because to me, like, the U was, I grew up in the era, like, I'm 29, right? I grew up in the era where the UM was that. Like, it was amazing. And so getting down here, one of the things that, I've been here 6 years, one of the things that has always just blown my mind is that kids just are like, nah, I'd rather go to Ohio State, rather go to Bama, for good reason, right? Like, those are money, for sure. But, like, now that obviously everything's above board, you can pay anybody. Like, why is it that UM can't get these kids to stay here?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. And, I mean, they do get sometimes. This last year, I think, is the first time in a while where they didn't have a decent amount of local kids. I mean, the few recruiting classes I've seen or that I was here for, about half of their class was South Florida. So they are getting guys. They may not be getting the top dog, which obviously is the big question. I mean, Jeremiah Smith is probably the biggest example of that from 2 classes ago. But they are still getting a fair amount of talent. And with the fact of South Florida having so much as it is, eventually, I mean, you're gonna miss on guys. Should you be consistently missing on the very top guys every single year? Of course not. But it's an interesting predicament. And again, I feel like winning does go a long way. Having the trajectory goes a long way. And being able to establish that is going to be the key, of showing that we're doing this. We're going to be able to get you on the field early, which is another key point for a lot of guys, especially now where you're in the transfer portal era, where if you get to a team and you're not playing, okay, gone the next year, going to go somewhere where I have an opportunity. So be able to show that you're able to have the winning record and to be able to get on the field are going to be probably the 2 key selling points.
I think it's all about money now, as we've spoken, but going way back to Jimmy Johnson, he used to always say, if we can win South Florida, if I can get everybody I want from my backyard, I'll take that. Because, look, South Florida, Dallas, L.A., these are still the hotbeds where you want to recruit and win. And so if they can do that, and I think they have such a culture where the former guys are still involved in the program. You see Michael Irvin on the sideline talking to the young receivers now. Malachi just turning 18, crazy. So they have a culture that a lot of programs don't, I think. And if they can get the local kids to stay home, that's huge. And Mario, you can criticize him for the sideline acumen, but that guy can recruit. He can recruit high schools. He can recruit the portal. And I would rather have that. I would rather have a head coach who can recruit his ass off and get just about everybody. Cam Ward to Carson Beck, I mean...
But you paid for it.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are paying for it. But the ability to pay for it is all you need.
I'm just saying, I'm going to throw it out there with the paying for part. Cam Ward was only, $1 million, $1.5 million? There's other quarterbacks now. The quarterback who transferred from Tulane to Duke is making $7 million. 1 year difference.
But he was high. He was on the high level. Cam Ward was on the high level a year ago. Well, the price of inflation went up for quarterbacks. Yeah.
But Carson Beck is basically making the same amount as the guy who transferred from Tulane to Duke that is nowhere near Carson Beck's level. So the fact that your return on investment for how much you're paying, Miami's coming out on top right there if you look at some of the other quarterbacks and what they're making. I mean, the kid at UCLA went from Tennessee. Yeah. What is he, $6-7 million? How's that working out for UCLA? Oh, yeah, their coach just got fired because they lost to, New Mexico last week? So I feel like things are working out on that side of it.
What were the expectations for the Florida game? Let's wrap up the segment with that.
I'll say this. Again, yes, I'll put it on the record. Yes, I'm a Gator alum, graduating 2017, but I will preface that by saying my 5 years I was at UF, the 4 years as a student, the year afterwards where I still worked there, 2 years of Jim McElwain, 2 years of Will Muschamp, 3 years of Jim McElwain. So I was bookended by 4 win seasons. My allegiance to them is by my diploma only, by the fact that I've graduated from the University of Florida. I never really had the opportunity to be a fan. I started covering them my sophomore year at the student paper. So watching where that program is right now, they're in a very tough spot. I mean, if you look at where they are, year 4 of them under Billy Napier, year 4 of Mario Cristobal for UM, they couldn't be on any different trajectory going in basically the opposite direction. I mean, I would be surprised if Billy Napier lasts past this season. I wouldn't be surprised if, depending on how the game goes on Saturday, if he's gone after this weekend. I mean, UF has a bye week after this. That's usually the time when, if things are in dire straits, that colleges make their decisions, because you got to do what you can to save the recruiting classes. You've got to do what you can to protect the future, and you've got to figure out what you can to figure out how to salvage what's left. So for the game Saturday, if UM's offensive line holds down Florida's defensive line, which is still very good despite their record, Carson Beck handles his business, it should be a very easy win for UM on Saturday.